Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Edible Software Mobile Apps Edition. So, today, what we're going to talk about specifically is the physical inventory app that we have on our mobile application suite. Of course, this is a scanning app, or of course, just like any of our others, it can be used manually as well. But this is to help with the physical inventory process or the counting process. So just like our pick app that we've looked at before, this does have to have a count sheet actually set up in the system beforehand. So we do have to have in the system, we have to have created the snapshot and then created a count sheet or count sheets in the system beforehand. Just like any other counting process, you can have multiple count sheets. The user can only work on one count sheet at a time. Um, and there doesn't have to be any sort of assignment or anything like that. Any physical inventory user can pick up a count sheet as long as nobody else is working on it. So again, we still do have those lock features to make sure that nobody is double counting or anything like that. So here, as you can see, I do have a count sheet set up. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the application. Just as before, we are starting with the login screen. We'll enter in our username, our password, and whatever API URL we were pointing to, and tap login, and we'll let this load up for a bit. All right. So now, of course, if you have more than one module assigned to you as a user, then you will want to go ahead and click on that menu option at the top left and come down to the app that you are looking for. So right now I am looking for inventory and count sheets. All right. So up here at the top, for those of you who are working with multiple warehouses, you will want to make sure that you have the correct warehouse selected. So here we can select that warehouse. Here we can specify, we can see all of the count sheets. So right now I just have the one, but I would see all of the count sheets created for that default warehouse. It'll give me the count sheet number and the uh, snapshot date. So once I have my count sheet, I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And here I can see the list of all of my items and lots that exist on within that warehouse that I can possibly count for. So here it does start off every item with a new S slot, very similar to how it appears in the system. So this S slot can obviously be ignored if you don't have any extra lots. This is purely for those of you who maybe are counting inventory and you're not exactly sure what lot it belongs to or anything like that. So if you ever have situations where you find inventory and you don't know where it belongs, you can count against this S slot. But what I'm going to do is, again, you can use this to go ahead and tap an item or tap a lot if you want to, or we can go ahead and scan a lot. So here I'm going to go ahead and scan this lot that I have in front of me. So making sure that this scan barcode is selected, I'm going to go ahead and scan that. Oh, sorry. Oh, scanning for the wrong item. I apologize. 1 second. Here we go. But that shows you if you are scanning an item that doesn't belong on the count sheet or that is not part of the count sheet, that is the message that you will get. All right. And you would get a very similar message if you were scanning a lot that did not exist physically in the warehouse. So if you scanned a lot that existed in a different warehouse or anything like that, you would get an invalid lot message. But I scanned my GS1 barcode. It pulls up my item and my lot. So from here, I can go ahead and continue scanning that barcode. If I was scanning a pallet label, it would increment by the number of units on the pallet. I can change the unit of measure. If you do change this unit of measure, you can only count this lot in this unit of measure. If you needed to count in multiple units of measure, then you would have to add a line, which we will talk about in just a little bit. But I'll go ahead and set that there. So again, you can continue just scanning barcodes, or if you count it ahead of time, you can tap on the quantity. When you tap on the quantity or when you're searching for an item or anything like that, it will pop up the native keyboard so you can actually manually type in that quantity. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in 20 here. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and enter in 25. And then I can go ahead and save and plus if I'm going to work on a different lot number. I can save in plus and choose another lot number, or I can save and back and choose another item or choose a different lot number. So here you can see as I have marked that item as scanned, or if as I've marked that item as counted, it does mark it as counted with this check mark, and it does move it into this counted area. So I can always go through. I can see what's been counted here based on my counted quantity or this icon, so you can see what's been counted there. Or if you wanted to go through and just see counted item or just see non-counted items, you can change whichever tab you're looking in. All right. So we can continue to move forward. I'm going to go ahead and scan another item here. All right. And so here you can see I actually have two cases on this, or sorry, I have two cases on this particular palette. So it is incrementing by 2. So I am scanning this palette label, but I'm actually going to no, I'm not going to change that. So I'll go ahead and leave that be, and I'll go ahead and save and back. Now, of course, I am just scanning one at a time. You can change this to scan in between items as well. So here I'm going to go ahead and scan for a different lot. So 1 second. I'm going to scan for a different lot for that yellow corn tortilla. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and increment there. And then I'm going to scan for another item. So here I'm going to scan for this catch weight item that I have. So what that does is it counts what I have. It counts what I had originally for the quantity I had for that lot for the yellow corn tortilla, and then it picks my next lot. So I don't have to constantly go back and forth like I was doing. I can simply stay in this screen and just continue scanning barcodes. Now, of course, with the catch weight items, we do excuse me, with the catch weight items, we do like to scan in our weighted barcodes if you have any. So as you scan in weighted barcodes, it's going to go ahead and increment the number of units every time. So here I'm going to go ahead and scan in. So it's incrementing. I have 50 pounds on these labels, so it's incrementing every single time. So I'm going to go ahead and click save and back. So if I jump down here, I can see my green olive. I can see that TS catch in both those lots. Now, if at any point, let's say this lot right here, it is 0. I do not have this in the system. However, in my snapshot, it said I had 5. Well, I want to make sure, maybe as the counter, I want to make sure Edible knows that there are 0 lots in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe this to the right in this all area, and I can set as 0. So it's going to mark it as counted with 0. So that is the way that you can handle your absolute 0 lots. So I can just go in, I'll swipe another one just to show you. Now, if I counted something and it was incorrect, now I can do that in here, I can do this in the counted one. If I swipe to the left, then I can reset. All that does is it changes my counted quantity to 0, but it removes the counted flag. So I can recount for this as needed. So that's if you need to recount. Otherwise, I can just tap on it and change the counted quantity as needed. So here I am incrementing my quantity. Here I'm resetting my quantity. So here, if I put in 2 up in this quantity field, this is going to add 2 to my counted quantity. But here, if I need to say no, it's actually 2, then I save and back, and you can see it has actually changed it to 2. So you have different ways you can modify quantities, you can increment quantities. There's a lot of flexibility in this app. Now, to show you what exactly is happening in here, if I jump back into the system, I can see my screen here, and I'm actually going to close it and reopen it just to refresh it just in case. But it is actually updating my counted quantities live. So here you can see these quantities that I counted at 0. Here's that 2, here's the 25 and the 8 and the 4. So I have all of these being thrown into my count sheet right here. What you can also see here, and this would be the same case for multiple people working on the physical inventory app, uh, I currently have this order locked in here. I Nobody else can pick up this count sheet. So in here you can see my edit button is grayed out because I am currently counting on this. And you can always see that in here, whoever is working on the count sheet currently. So if I went ahead and decided to back out, so there's no save feature as you're making counts. It is updating those tables. So all you have to do is back out to release the lock on the count sheet. So if I come back in here again, I'm going to refresh this screen. Now I can see nobody is assigned to it and my edit button is available. And if anybody made any changes in the app or made any changes in here, both of them communicate to each other. So if I made a change in here and reset this 25 to 20 and saved, then if I came back into the app, I can see that that 25 has changed to a 20. So this is constantly communicating as it is working. So you will need a connection, some sort of connection, so that you can work in this app. But otherwise, that is basically it. Once you are done counting, you simply back out of the order, and then the rest of it is taken care of just like it normally is in Edible software. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions whatsoever, please give us a call. We'll be happy to demo this further or train further, ask or answer any questions that you might have. I hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you again soon.